What is going on, you guys? I'm back at it again. We're doing Roadie, and I'm going to talk about what I do while I'm driving. What kind of things I listen to. So we'll just get right into it. I mostly listen to books. I'm going to give you my top 3 books that I've read this year or listened to this year, and why they could be valuable to you. Number 1 would be Rich Dad, Poor Dad. It's a really good book. It's about a guy who grew up with a best friend, and they were both poor at the time, so he had a dad who was a teacher, and he had a poor man's mentality, and then he had a best friend who was future rich, but he wasn't rich at the time, and he had a rich man's mentality. And it just goes into the different things that they believed were good for life, for success. The one dad believed that going to school was good, and that, you know, buying a house was an investment, and which it can be under the right circumstances, but for the most time, a house is a liability. And it's just a really good book. It really makes you think about things differently. It's a very introduction to thinking like a rich man, or thinking big, I guess you could say. It's a really good book. Check that one out for sure. Number 2 would be The Richest Man in Babylon. The Richest Man in Babylon is a great book. It's one of my favorite books. It's a quick read. All these books, by the way, are on YouTube for free. So I'll leave the link down, and you guys can listen to them for free. So anyways, The Richest Man in Babylon is it's an excellent book. It's about these friends. They grew up together in ancient Babylon, and they didn't have any money at all. They were completely flat broke, and they were joking, like, you know, they didn't have a single dollar to give each other. And they were looking at their other friend that they grew up with, and they're like, why is this guy, you know, why is he rich? He's filthy rich. He's the richest man in Babylon. And they're like, he's no different than us. And then so they went to him, and they were like, you know, what's the deal? What did you do that was different? How are you so different? Like, we grew up together. We're the same people. We're the same DNA. And he's like, yes, you're right. We are the same. He's like, but I saved 10% of all I earned. And it just talks about the principle of paying yourself first. He says that 10% of all you earn is yours to keep. And then it goes into not only, you know, saving that 10%, but then also saving up to invest that 10% and putting that 10% to work. And then it goes into compound interest. It doesn't talk about that, but it's a story book with real life principles. And honestly, to be honest, this was the book that really changed how I save money and how I budget and everything. This is what made me good with money. And it's very basic. It's very simple. It's a simple read. It's also on YouTube for free. Some people like to sit and read the book, and that's fine. And some people like to, you know, listen. Like, I like to listen. I retain almost just as much through audio as I do by reading. I also like to sit and read as well. But I digress. Number 3 is Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill. This isn't a religious book. It's again a fictional book with real life principles. It's really good. So basically, Napoleon Hill, he's an author from the 1940s or whatever. He's dead now, but he wrote Think and Grow Rich, and he wrote hundreds of, you know, self-help books. He was like the self-help standard of books, right? And he wrote this book called Outwitting the Devil, and basically Napoleon Hill, is interviewing the devil, right? And the devil is giving away all of his tricks and all of his secrets on how he gets people to fall prey, and how he gets people to not accomplish their goals, and how he gets people to stay in chains, if you will. He says that, you know, drifting is his #1 ally. People just going through life, just going with the flow. That's his greatest ally. And he says that he tries to take over people's minds before they're 25, when their brain is fully developed. That's what he tries to do. And he uses fear, and he uses being afraid of success, being like, oh, I'm scared to start my own business because what if I lose everything, and what if I'm out on the streets and
Man, Rick, I'm looking around this place and I'm starting to work up some anxiety about this whole thing. Oh, geez, Rick, that's not good.
That's how he keeps you in chains, right? If you believe in that kind of thing. But it's not really it's not a religious book at all. But it's very good. It has a lot of principles that will really help you out. I would say a bonus book be 7 Habits of Highly Successful People. That's a really good book. That's a good book about not only business, friendships, your marriage, your children. It's just about life, about what highly successful people do. Another bonus is High Performance Habits, and that one's pretty self-explanatory, but it's a really good book as well. And also How to Win Friends and Influence People by David Carnegie. That's a really good book. So there's a good little list of books that I've read this year that I've just loved, honestly, and they've really impacted me, how I go about life, how I think about things. So I started this journey a little of like actually listening and reading books every week, probably about a year ago, and my goal was 1 book a week. And when I first started out, I had trouble doing that, but the more and more I go along, the more I start to learn, the more fascinated I am with it, the more that it's really fun. And so I don't have any trouble doing 2 books or whatever. So I was never a good reader. I never liked reading, to be honest, to be frank. But now I love it, and it's like one of my releases. That's it. If you guys like this, just smash that like button. I greatly appreciate it. And if you guys are new here, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Hit that bell icon. I'll be posting 3 or 4 times a week. I greatly appreciate it. And I greatly appreciate you guys. Hopefully I can spread some knowledge and spread some positivity and just document my journey. I'm trying to grow each and every day, but I am not a finished product. So I'm trying to grow, and I'm trying to document that so that maybe one day when I get to a destination, you guys can look back and like, oh, this is how step A, B, and C.